Okay, today we're joined here in the ProMotion studio by Mr. Jeff Lane. Jeff, thanks for stopping by.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Why'd you start playing music? Who got you into it?
Oh, that's a good question there. I'm not sure why I started playing music, but I started loving music, I guess, back in the early 80s, listening to my mom's old record collection.
Right.
I think a lot of us older musicians have that in common. You know, you grow up with parents that were majorly into music, and I did get a guitar when I was a little kid for Christmas one year, and I just always kind of wanted to play.
So, was there any particular album, like, did she hand you and be like, I think you're going to like this?
No, actually.
They just kind of let you find your own way?
Yeah, my mom was a real clean freak, and this was back in the day before you had any real good television, you know, and I think it was right when the movie channel came out. I think it was in the early 80s, very early 80s or late 70s probably, somewhere in there. But on the weekends, there was nothing to do. If it was too hot outside, you know, you don't want to go outside and kill yourself all day. So I would spend a lot of time just kind of, you know, going through this 8-foot long stereo cabinet that she
Wow.
had. And it was full of anything from, some of the ones that stand out in my head were like Nazareth, Hair of the Dog.
Yeah.
And there was a Jim Croce album in there. There was Elton John, is it Captain Fantastic and the Brown Dirt Cowboy?
Oh, wow. Yeah, some deep dives.
Yeah, really
Right
neat. I was really into the artwork of it.
Yeah.
I mean, all this stuff was just some of the records. Jim Dandy, The Night Electricity Came to Arkansas.
Yeah.
That was a scary cover.
Oh, yeah. There's some of those old covers. I don't know. You know Uriah Heep?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was one of those bands that I found in my parents' collection. I was like,
Yeah.
What is this? You see the Magician's Birthday cover for the first time. It's kind of a weird experience.
Yeah.
So you got a guitar when you were younger. When did you actually start like playing and writing songs?
I guess I was probably about, I was in probably late middle school to very early high school was when I started like taking lessons and stuff. And I took a bunch of lessons on a regular basis toward the, I guess it was my sophomore year during the summer. And I came out and I wanted to change my whole image. I was kind of one of those kids that was stuck between nerd and hood.
Okay.
Right. And I was friends with a lot of people, but I was just kind of a sort of a nobody, and I wanted to enhance my image, I think. So
Right on.
over the summer, I learned a bunch of stuff and grew my hair out real long, which I don't have any chances of that anymore. Came back to school my junior year, kind of looking like Bon Jovi, I guess. And
Playing guitar and singing songs.
Yeah. Well, I wasn't singing; I was just playing guitar.
Oh, okay.
But I was writing. I was writing music from the very beginning. Just I never would have even dreamed I would be a singer until, I don't know, maybe 9 or 10 years ago. I just never thought about it. You know, I didn't think.
Just kind of fell into it later.
Yeah, I guess most of that happened during that Great Recession that we had.
Okay.
Because I had a whole bunch of songs. I would play them for myself, but I wouldn't show them to anybody. You know?
Right.
And then I kind of went through a big mess there and lost the farm that I had. And I had a business too. And everything just kind of crashed at the same time.
Wow.
You know? And that became a great outlet for me.
Yeah, I mean, you can focus a lot of that energy and all the emotions right into a song. Did you play with any bands like when you're coming up, or just?
Well, when I was really young, I would try to play around with little high school bands and stuff. Nothing that ever happened more than once or twice, really. And then when I lost the farm and all that, it's kind of interesting story. Some of my friends and I formed a band called 100 Acres, and it started out as just me and Matthew Oakes, my best buddy. He's my mandolin player, and we ended up just picking up piece by piece, and we ended up being invited to record some songs at Quentin Horton's house.
Wow.
Quentin Horton is is now the lead guitarist in 100 Acres, and he's in, I don't know, 9 or 10 other projects too. He's a great producer, great everything. And finally, we ended up at his house, and he was, while we were there, we were just trying to play, our stuff acoustic, and I think we had a cajon player then, and
real stripped down.
Yeah, real stripped down. Had a bass player, but Quentin started adding, some professional sound to it, because he was a pro. He'd already been a Nashville guy and everything. Yeah. And it sort of formed really quickly after that. And we put the record together. And it's strange. We played our very first show at our CD release party on my 40th birthday.
Oh, wow.
And I was scared to death. Damn scared to death. And we did another record after that and released it on my 41st birthday. And after that, Quentin, who's one of my biggest mentors, he just told me, he said, look, if you really want to grow what you're doing, you need to go do some of what I had to do. And I was like, well, what's that? He said, you need to just go out and go to other towns, get into the open mics a little bit, figure out where you fit in the mix, and figure out what you're doing better than everybody, figure out what you really need to work on, and just get used to that instead of leaning on us all the time.
That's some great advice.
Yeah, and he did the same thing. So I got to tell you, we had already played with 100 Acres at that time, maybe, I don't know, 100 shows or so, and I was real confident on stage with 100 Acres. And first couple open mics I went to, my hands were shaking again. It was the weirdest thing ever.
It puts you right there on the spot. Yeah.
It's like starting over.
Because you're the center of attention. Yeah. Right. It's all on you. Yeah, like you were saying.
And but I did that for, I don't know, a couple of years. I would leave work one day a week and drive 50 to 100 miles somewhere else and play a couple of songs and drive home. And met a whole lot of great artists, songwriters, and realized that I wanted to keep doing it, Well, that's all those other people, Brandon Fulson, that way.
Yeah, I mean, they say the best way to slow down time is to travel.
Yeah.
And, to fill that time with, going other places, meeting lots of people.
Right.
That's the best way to slow down time and to really make the most of your life.
Yeah.
Where were some of those places that, you got there and they got what you're doing?
Several places have sort of turned into my homes away from home. One is Crystal Creek in Gatlinburg.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done a ton of those songwriter rounds that John Condroni and the Smoky Mountain Songwriter Festival have always put on. Met a ton of people there. And I've done a lot of, actual shows in other towns. Like one place I love is the City Drive-In in Spruce Pine, North Carolina.
Okay.
Really, really cool place. And Males, Riverside, and Rogersville. For some reason, they get me and I get them,
Yeah.
Jonesboro Barrel House, another great place.
That's another thing. Like when you get out there, you'll find these places that you just, the energy's right, the people are right, and it just, everything clicks. Yeah. So what were some of your bigger inspirations, like when you started like writing songs and putting everything together? Because you've got a very like focused sound.
Yeah, I've never really been able to explain what's happening musically for me, and maybe as we go forward, somebody can help me with that a little. But my biggest influences, I guess, out of the gate were probably like the Eagles and Bob Seger, people like that, and then. Lord, I love music. I mean, at one time I was a Queensryche fan.
Oh yeah, well, man, Operation Mindcrime is killer. Yeah,
killer. So, and I'd find myself, and I don't think anybody can sing Jeff Tate. No. But while you're driving, you can't help but try.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, Silent Lucidity is one of those little tests just about any vocalist. Yeah. So you've been lauded as a really big blues influence, a little bit of country, but you've got a very distinct sound because I can see like some of the Eagles because you write a lot of metaphors and symbolism. Are you thinking about your phrasing and your words? Because you tell stories, but I mean there's more nuance to your stories. They're not like right in your face.
A while back, first time I ever met Kim Williams, I was at a writer's workshop in Gatlinburg, at the Gatlinburg Inn. there was about 30 of us, I guess, in the room. Everybody was just dying to write a song with Kim. And I realized that, 30 writers, 25 guitars, everybody wanting to, holler things out. It just wasn't going to work as a co-write. It ended up being a couple of songs, but I was fascinated watching the way his mind worked in songwriting. And I just put my guitar in the case and I turned my phone on and hit record. And I kept all that because whenever somebody would come up with a line, most songwriters are really thrilled. They feel good if they've got like one killer line in a song or one killer line before the chorus and one after it. The reason Kim Williams was so great was because he had good lines every line.
Yeah.
And one of the greatest writers out there now, in my opinion, if you really analyze the songs, is Jason Isbell.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
And of course, John Prine was that same way. And, not that they're anything alike, but it's
highly personal, but it's through a filter. You can take they seem to take other people's experiences and their own, blend them very seamlessly to where.
But Kim always said, you got to put furniture in the room.
Yeah, you got to build that space out.
Yeah. And so that's kind of my strategy, and a lot of times I'll shelf a song that I just can't get anywhere with, and it'll come back out, years later sometimes. I just redid one song that I liked one line in the song. I liked it a lot then. I pulled the song out, and I'm like, man, even that line needs some help. But I liked the music that I'd written to it, so I totally changed the entire song.
Which do you find yourself laboring over more, the music or the lyrics?
Probably the lyrics.
I'd say that's probably most people. The music that's something that flows from the emotion, and then you've got to try to frame that emotion with the lyrics.
Right.
So recently you've been real busy, staying busy during the quarantine, Over the Hump with Jeff, and how's the Over the Hump been going? The live stream,
except for my technical difficulties, which I think most of us who've never really done that before are experiencing that. Because you're used to interacting with people and beers and people coming in and out the doors, going and smoking, and and people hollering at you, and all of a sudden you're in front of your phone. You can see one or two comments at a time pop up, and you start thinking, well, I'm not going to remember that by the end of the song. And then somebody comes on and says, I can't hear you, or it just stopped, and it's really hard to do that. But other than that, it's been interesting because I've actually picked up some new friends in different parts of the world. I've got a nice little posse in Canada now.
Wow.
They're like totally interacting every week with me and sending me stuff, and I sent them some stuff, and some people in Greenville, South Carolina, and I think there was one in Oregon yesterday. I don't know. They're just all over the place, and it's really neat to have that ability to connect with people who are looking for what you do versus trying to force what you do down all your friends' throats.
Right. Yeah, that's one of the more interesting things about like the whole live streams that musicians adopted during quarantine is people have been able to seek you out in a way that they've not been able to before, because the visibility is in a different way, and being able to engage with the audience in Canada that you might not otherwise have been able to reach. And the technical difficulties are a thing, but I think seeing different musicians' styles, like the way that they kind of put it. Some people are laboring over the comments, and they're even commenting during the song. And I've seen people have full-on meltdowns from a comment that somebody made. They'll just stop a song and be like, "What?" So,
there's trolls out there.
Yeah, absolutely there are.
A good friend of mine had that happen the other day, and called me up after the show and was like, how do I stop this? And we researched it and figured out how to block somebody during the stream. It's like, wow, why would you even do that in the first place?
Yeah, well, because people have got a lot of free time now.
Yes,
for all the people that are looking for you for the right reasons, and people looking for the wrong reasons too.
Yeah.
So what else have you got planned for 2020? You got some music you're about to release, anything like that?
I'm wanting to release a new record this year, and I'm almost finished. When I put together a record, I usually have 20 songs that I'm thinking of, and I'll try to condense it down.
Parse them down, yeah.
And I'm very indecisive too, so it'll be like the last minute I might change half of them again. But I'm excited about it because I've been writing now. That's one great thing about the quarantine is I spent a whole bunch of time over the past year and a half just playing a bunch of acoustic shows, mostly cover songs.
Yeah.
And to get into that phase, I had to spend several months, well, probably better part of a year, really learning another 100 songs, and the technology that goes with all that, and so it kind of killed me as a writer for a while. But this has been nice, actually.
Yeah, I think a lot of musicians would echo that sentiment because it's given them a lot of time. Well, it's slowed down everybody's pace. Mm-hmm. It's put a lot of things in perspective, which is great for writing anyways. Yeah. And, I mean, you're saying coming from learning a lot of cover songs, that will kind of like dull you as a writer for a bit. It kind of dulls the senses because it puts you in the frame of other writers.
Right.
But you make your covers your own for sure. You definitely put your own twist on them. So, where can people find your music? People can download JeffLaneMusic.com. Is that it?
That's the best starting point. Everything I have.
You got everything from 100 Acres and everything on there as well.
Yeah, and I have my links to Spotify and YouTube there, and Facebook and Instagram, whatever. It's all there. I've got my music right now on what's that one called? Bandcamp.
Yeah.
But there's links to it there, so people can go download some free stuff if they want to.
Go get that music now. I got to ask you about the 100 Acres. That's not a Winnie the Pooh reference, is it?
Everybody says that. When we first came up with that, it was actually the first bass player of 100 Acres, Joe Bastillo.
Okay.
He actually was a pretty big fan of that, I think. He at the time when I was writing that first bunch of music, I had a 63-acre horse farm.
Oh, wow. Just rounding up.
Yeah, and it sounded cool.
Right.
And I don't know, that's where we all started there practicing. That's where I kind of started coming out of that.
Lots of wandering on that farm, I bet. Just wandering in the mornings.
Yeah, there was it's kind of sad at the time, but now I would trade it all again to be doing music like I am, because before that I never really did music. I never was serious about it. But I can remember the inspirations that came into that first record were the feelings that you would have, just wondering how long you're going to be able to stay there.
Wow.
Without paying your mortgage, and that was a bad time in America.
Well, that's a real feeling.
It's kind of replaying itself a little bit now, and it's kind of freaky, but. I had horses, and the horses, they don't lie. Horses never lie. They just kind of show the true feelings around, and I can remember watching them, and seeing how they seemed nervous, and
they could feel it.
They knew something was about to change big time. And so that all kind of fell into the 100 Acres flavor, and but it's
drawn from that real life experience, though. Real turns of time,
Yeah. Not all my songs are 100% true stories, but there's usually a piece of the song that creates an idea for them, and some of my songs are 100% true stories, but
names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Exactly.
Right on. Well, Jeff, thanks for stopping by.
Absolutely.
Check him out, JeffLaneMusic.com. Go get some music. And tune in for the live streams. Are you going to continue doing the Over the Hump?
I think so, yeah.
All right. Check him out on Wednesdays, 7 p.m. on Jeff Lane's page.
Yeah, it's 9 p.m.
9 p.m. Okay.
9 p.m. Eastern.
9 p.m. Eastern on Jeff Lane's page. Over the Hump, Wednesdays with Jeff Lane. Jeff, thanks for stopping by.
Thank you, man.
Absolutely.
All right.
And don't forget to like, subscribe, comment down below. That way you don't miss the next ProMotion live session.